What is up, guys? Welcome back to another upSchool video. Today we're going to be learning about crop variety improvement. So the subheadings for this lesson: what is crop variety improvement? Why do we need crop variety improvement? The methods of crop variety improvement, such as hybridization, GM crops, and the disadvantages of crop variety improvement. So in this lesson, I'll be going through all these different topics. Hope you enjoy. Firstly, what is crop variety improvement? So let us try to understand this by going brief into the meanings of the three terms that make up this word: crop variety improvement. What do you understand by these three different words? So we know crop refers to the plant that is grown on a piece of land on a large scale. For example, we have wheat crops. The same type of wheat crops are grown on a piece of land on a large scale. That's why it can be called a wheat crop. Variety means a type, and improvement means to make better. So that basically sums it up. Crop variety improvement means to come up with different varieties or types of crops and improve it or make it better. But that which is, why do we need crop variety improvement? Well, that's because for a high population such as India, we have 1 billion people, we need more food, because to feed a high population, we need more food. But to get more food, we need more crop yield. If we produce more yield or more number of crops, then that will supply more food for the large population. But how do we get more crop yield? Well, you might be thinking that we could expand the amount of land, because more land will mean that we can grow more crops, and that will increase the yield. But the problem is, in India, land is fixed. So all the land has been converted to agricultural land. So when land is fixed, how can we produce a high yield? Well, that's where we can use crop variety improvement. So crop variety improvement means to come up with different crop varieties which can produce high yield, even with fixed land. So crop variety improvement is needed for higher yields and also for desirable characteristics. So if we compare between typical crops and crop varieties or strains, typical crops tend to produce less yields, they're vulnerable to diseases, they're unresponsive to fertilizers, they're of less quality, and they cannot grow in diverse climatic conditions. Whereas crop varieties, they can produce higher yields, they're disease resistant, they're highly responsive to fertilizers, they're of high quality, and they can grow in any diverse climatic conditions. So obviously that means crop varieties are way better and we need it. But this arises another question. How are these crop varieties even produced? And what are they? What are the methods? The methods of crop variety improvement. There are two major ones: hybridization and GM, genetically modified crops. Hybridization. Hybridization is basically the crossing of two different parent plants who have different characteristics to produce an offspring that have the desirable traits of both of the parent plants. So let us try to understand this with an example. Let's suppose we take two different types of apples. This is intraspecies hybridization. These two different types of apples have two different traits. One of them is disease resistant and the other one grows very fast. When we cross these, we can produce an offspring that is both disease resistant and grows very fast. So that's why hybridization is really good, because by crossing them, then we can produce an offspring that have the nice and the desirable characteristics of both of the parent plants. But the problem is that it's kind of hard to do this. It's based on luck. Hybridization is based on prediction. So sometimes it could work, sometimes it can't. And how does this hybridization work? Well, first they have to come up with the two different species, and then they transfer the stamen to the pistil of both of the species, and then they can produce the offspring. The crops produced are called hybrid crops. Examples of hybrid crops in India are Sonalika, which is a wheat hybrid crop, and it's disease resistant. It was launched in 1967 for the Green Revolution. Next is JR1, which is a rice hybrid crop, which is insect and pest resistant. Now let's talk about GM or genetically modified crops. So hence the name, genetically modified crops means to modify or change the genes of the crop so that they will have the desirable traits that we need. So by this, they will just, before the genetic modification, it will look like this. But then what they do is that they remove some strands of the genes and they add some new genes. And these genes will have desirable traits such as higher yields, improved quality, biotic and abiotic resistance, vitamins, looks, and they can grow in climatic conditions. So recently, genetically modified crops have been seen. As we've read in the news, in India, they have just launched GM mustard. And GM mustard is based on a DHM11 genetically modified crop, and this will be used in many of the agricultural based states such as Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, etc. There has been a debate regarding this because there are many disadvantages of GM crops, which we will see. The disadvantages of crop varieties. Firstly, hybridization. So as we discussed, hybridization has some disadvantages. One, it's quite expensive because obviously it requires a lot of money and technology so that we will know which two hybrids and how to produce them. So it's obviously a costly affair. Another one, as I discussed, is based on luck and prediction. And also, the major problem is that the hybrids cannot breed. This obviously makes perfect sense because when the hybrid crop is produced, it can't breed with another type because they're hybrid. So they only breed with another hybrid crop, which that's kind of hard to find. That's the problem because then we can't produce any new plants out of it. The disadvantages of GM crops, the long-term effects. So GM crops could breed with non-GM crops, and this could affect the entire ecosystem because obviously we're just mixing two different traits with each other, so we're diminishing the natural non-GM crops. And also there are many incidents where GM crops have allergies and there are other health problems that are related to GM crops. So what are the measures that can be taken to prevent these? Firstly, raising awareness. So we should obviously raise awareness about the problem of GM crops, and we could try to reduce it, or even in case some people have allergies, we can inform them so that they will be tolerated. And two is development in research. So if we develop our research, maybe we can come up with a way so that these GM crops could prevent these long-term effects and they could not affect the ecosystem. And we can even do development in research so that we can make them more healthy. So that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you understood this lesson, crop variety improvement. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. See you in the next one.